What secret ruined your life before it was even shared? My boyfriend got my best friend pregnant and I didn't find out until 15 years later. When I was 18 and in my senior year of high school, I really believed my life was on a good track. I lived with my parents and 4 other siblings, and spent most of my days hanging out with my best friend Ashley, or my boyfriend of 3 years, Kyle. Both Ashley and Kyle's parents were best friends with my parents, so I knew both of them since we were in diapers. Ashley's been my friend for 18 years, and she truly was the person I trusted with everything. I've been dating Kyle for the last 3 years. I believed he was the love of my life and the one I would eventually marry. We were quite serious and even talked about getting married after he finished college. Although I had every plan on going to university, I was quite content with the idea of being married to Kyle and being a stay-at-home mom. My parents loved Kyle and supported our relationship. I really was happy. My sister was also dating Kyle's brother, and all our siblings were very close. One day at the beginning of the school year, I noticed that Ashley was being very melancholic and detached. After a while of prodding, she told me she was pregnant. I was very surprised because I didn't know. She and her boyfriend broke up a while ago, and I didn't know she had anyone else like that in her life. I asked her who the father was and she didn't want to talk about it, but in a way implied that the ex was the father. She was absolutely distraught, so I dropped the topic and just consoled her. I was with her when she told her family, and while her parents were disappointed, they promised to support her in whatever she decides. They tried to make her share the dad's name, but she refused and made me promise to stay quiet. I was there for her for the next 9 months. I went with her for an ultrasound appointment. I was there for her when she was bullied in school for being pregnant. I helped her set up the nursery. I was there when she was sick or just felt down. I held a baby shower for her, went shopping with her, I even took some parenting classes with her. We chose names together and she even asked me to be with her in the delivery room. I noticed that the pregnancy was really taking a toll on her emotionally and physically, and I tried to support her in every way possible. She was my best friend, always there for me, and I loved her. Some 2 weeks before her due date, I went to the mall to run some errands and ran into her ex. Although I promised never to contact her, the knowledge of my friend's emotional state sent me into a fit of anger. I confronted him and gave him a piece of my mind. Telling him what a piece of garbage he was for leaving his ex pregnant and alone and not caring for his unborn child. He was shocked, and said that he had no idea what I was talking about. Ashley never told him about the pregnancy, and when I told him she was 9 months pregnant at the time, he said that it was not possible for him to be the father as they broke up over a year ago and had no relations since then. I was confused but apologized for yelling at him in the middle of them all. After that he became snarky, said some nasty stuff and mentioned things like, maybe you should ask Ashley's friend Kyle if he is the daddy. I didn't really think about his words in any way. Kyle and Ashley have been friends their entire lives. We were always very close, but they never showed any sign of being anything more. That evening, my younger sister and I were preparing to have a movie night. I began ranting to her about confronting Ashley's ex and his words. My sister, who is usually very outspoken, got quiet and didn't really respond to anything I said. After a while she excused herself and went to the bathroom. I decided to go and get some snacks and went downstairs to the kitchen when I overheard my younger sister berating my mother. I heard my sister tell my mom about me running into Ashley's ex, and what he had said. She told my mom she no longer wanted to hide from me the fact that Kyle was Ashley's baby's father. I was shocked, absolutely shocked. I stumbled into the kitchen and demanded an explanation. Both my mom and my sister became white as a sheet when they saw me, and my sister started crying her eyes out. My sister explained to me that during the end of the summer break, Kyle and Ashley attended the same house party, got intoxicated and slept together. Ashley got pregnant and told Kyle, but they were both too ashamed and afraid to tell me. They also didn't share this with their parents. Ashley, however, couldn't keep it a secret, and told her mom and dad, who told Kyle's parents, then later told mine as well. This all happened when Ashley was in her first trimester. By her second trimester, all of my siblings, and all of Kyle and Ashley's siblings, knew about this. Everyone except for me. I simply cannot explain the way I felt. I was physically ill for the next 3 days and I couldn't speak to anyone. My parents were apologetic, but explained that they didn't want to see me hurt or ruin everyone's relationship. I did not speak with Kyle or Ashley, although they bombarded my phone with messages and calls and also came to my house. I refused to see them. At one point, Kyle's mom came to our house and my mom allowed her into my room. While I was lying in my bed, still ill and just emotionally drained from the betrayal. She tried to convince me to forgive them and how Ashley and the baby need me. I said nothing. 2 weeks later, Ashley went into labor. I learned from my parents that she had a hard delivery. She lost a lot of blood and needed an emergency C-section. Kyle even had the gall to attend the birth. I was distraught and inconsolable because of the betrayal by both because I planned to be there and now physically and emotionally couldn't because I was looking forward to this moment for months. My older sister immediately went to the hospital to be with her boyfriend. My other siblings weren't at home, so I was left alone with my parents. All I wanted was to lay in my bed or cuddle in my bed with my mom and cry all my feelings out. My mom received a call from Ashley's mom. She came to my room and told me that she and Dad were going to the hospital. I was perplexed and asked her to stay with me. She said that Ashley's parents needed all the support they could get, and that we will discuss everything later. I tried to tell her not to go and that I also needed their support, but she told me not to be selfish and they left. I was left alone at the house, still trying to wrap my head around what had happened in the last few weeks. I couldn't believe that my parents would go and support someone who hurt me so much while I was also suffering. I don't know when, but my sadness suddenly turned into rage, the kind I'd never experienced before. In a fit of combined emotions and feelings of betrayal, I started packing my bags and decided to leave home. It didn't take too long before I started having second thoughts and just sat in the living room feeling empty. After a while, I received a text from my sister. The text said that Ashley gave birth to a healthy girl and that they were both okay. She attached a pic of the newborn and told me they named her Sarah, which was the name Ashley and I chose some months ago. She sent a second text a while later telling me that my parents and she were going to join Ashley's and Kyle's parents in going to a bar in the town to celebrate. It was at that point that I was sure I was making the right decision, and I left. I ran away on the train, and stayed at a hostel in Phoenix. I got a job at a store there, and planned to finish high school. My parents, my siblings, Kyle and Ashley tried contacting me, but I ignored them. My mom sent me a panicked voicemail demanding I come home, but I refused. My mother also reported me as a missing person, but I don't think they ended up investigating it since I was 18 years old. Soon after, I met the love of my life, Dean. He also lived in Phoenix, and also had a really complicated relationship with his family. He introduced me to his group of friends, and they all helped me finish high school. I don't think I would still be here today if I hadn't met him that day. Later that year I moved in with him, and 2 years after that we got married. We now have 2 kids, and I'm still no contact with my family, Kyle and Ashley. I'm living my best life without their harassment, and I couldn't be happier.